Hi, and welcome back to the Asheville District. In today's video, we'll take a look at realistic operations as we follow a local freight over the S-Line. As always, thanks for watching. Let's go ahead and get started. Today we're following a local freight, PD7, as it makes its way over the S-Line. It's proceeding westbound into Asheville Yard, where it'll swap ends, and the power will then take it eastbound, up the S-Line towards the paper mill at Old Fort. I've had several requests to do a video without any significant overlaid sounds, so everything that you hear, from the bell to the horn and the locomotive sounds itself, are directly from the Lock Sound 5 decoders. The only thing that I've added are some flange sounds for the rail cars as they pass by. We're at the east end of Asheville Yard, and the train crew will bring this loaded wood chip train into a yard track. There, they'll run around the power to proceed eastbound up the hill towards Old Fort. Once the train is into a yard track, the crew will disconnect the power and continue heading eastbound out onto the main lead. There, the dispatcher has given the crew a diverging approach signal, giving them permission to proceed out onto the main line so they can run around and move westbound through the yard and couple back up to the train on the opposite side. The two locomotives on this train are made by GE. They're big, 6-axle, 4,400 horsepower locomotives. The one in the front is unique because it's an AC60 44AC. Even though these two on the inside are identical, both on the prototype and on the models, on the outside, the front locomotive looks like an AC6000. In the 90s, GE delivered these locomotives with 4,400 horsepower engines with the option to upgrade them to a stronger and bigger 6,000 horsepower engine. However, UP liked the performance of the AC 4400s, the 6,000 horsepower engines were unreliable, and they remained at 4,400 horsepower. The crew has completed their runaround move and will lead this train eastbound. Upgrade was 7348. They'll request permission from the Asheville dispatcher to depart eastbound out of the Asheville Yard and onto the main line. There, they'll proceed up the 2.6% grade towards Old Fort. We're now out of Asheville Yard and onto the S line. Here at the Old Fort Loops, these tracks loop in and out of the valleys and over themselves. This is to gain extra distance as the slow 2.6% grade tackles the mountain pass. Here with the tight curvature and steep grades, just like the prototype, these locomotives are in notch 8 to get the heavy train over the hill. Once tackling the steep grade and making it over the hill, the train crew arrives at the small yard in Old Fort. Here, they'll drop off the loaded wood chip cars which are used in the paper-making process. The wood chips will be unloaded to turn into pulp. That, in turn, will be rolled, pressed, and turned into paper, along with other chemicals. I have other videos on rail operations and the paper-making process which I'll link below. Once the train has been yarded and several cars set out in the unloading facility, the crew will take the locomotives out onto the main line, proceed to the other end of the yard, and tie them down for the next day's assignment. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. And until next time, I'll see you later.